And it's at Helpy. Yes, Helpy is actually in the security breach trailer, and I'm not kidding. I mean, like, the animatronic themselves wasn't there, but Happy's face was. During the shot of the kitchen in the very first trailer, the introduction of the Moon Man animatronic, we were too distracted to see Helpy's face on a barrel to the right of the screen. The barrel that has the text like torque toil, which I mean, like, it's probably just some form of oil, but I mean, like, I don't know, like, what the name is, but he's there, and he's a small character, okay? It's like there's like some fraction on it, maybe with some numbers, maybe percentage of oil, something like that, okay? Helpy's face though is still plastered on the side, and this will probably be his only appearance, unfortunately. I mean, I want to see him jumping into like the giant ball pit so that he doesn't get hurt again, although you'd probably miss knowing him. But this also confirms that the game has to take place at least after FNAF 6, which kind of ruins my taking place in 2021 theory, but 8 and 9, more Foxies. During the first gameplay trailer from the February State of Play event from PlayStation, we got our first look at how the game would actually play. However, after many rewatches, I just swear the trailer on PlayStation's channel has like 14.6 million views, and I think 14 million of them are from me. However, I noticed on like the 13th millionth watch that when Vanessa's walking past the player and we're like hiding in like the behind the curtains or whatever, there is an interesting scene in the background. This appears to be a reference to the Pirate Ride minigame from FNAF VR's DLC, since there's a pirate ship with what looks to be Captain Foxy. However, along with what I think is Captain Foxy, you can also see another character who's like swinging on a rope as if they're boarding them Pirates of the Caribbean style. Now, I don't know if this is like maybe Funtime Foxy or maybe even Lolbit, but it is certainly not the normal Foxy that we all know and love. So, who is this character? Well, I mean, we're gonna find out in the game, but it's certainly interesting, and it does confirm that this also takes place after FNAF VR, which again, ruins the 2021 theory, so damn. And today, gameplay. If you watched the second State of Play trailer for Security Breach, you may not notice this. However, on the PlayStation version of the trailer, the one uploaded to the PlayStation YouTube channel, during the first few seconds after Vanny appears on screen when we first see Chica walking by, the bottom of the screen tells us that the footage in this trailer is a mixture of gameplay and in-game cinematics, meaning that everything in this trailer is supposed to appear in-game at some point. So, this means that Monty jumping down from that swinging thing and Chica attacking us but then getting smashed is confirmed to be in the game. Hopefully. This also interestingly confirms that Vanny's little skip down the hall and then subsequent her coming out of the darkness seems to be in the game as well, which begs the question when, since that last, I guess it would seem like a jump scare doesn't really seem all that scary at all. It just seems like she's genuinely wanting us to be quiet, even if her eyes are glowing red. So why is this the case? Does she turn good and try to help us? I mean, there's only one way to find out. Steel will send us a copy. And it's 7 recharge. It appears that we'll have to be recharging most of our devices on a regular basis from the looks of things, with the station at which the flashlight recharges in the trailer, you know, before Chica gets us, and the battery level that we can see on Freddy's UI while piloting him. However, I also noticed that the flashlight recharging station looks an awful lot like the flash we used to stun Roxanne on later in that same trailer. It's the exact same design, which makes me think that maybe we can use these various charging stations as charging stations, or take them off the wall and you have like a few use stun gun that we can keep with us, which is certainly an interesting way to add choice to the game. And I'm sure both options have their pros and cons. Get out the yellow legal pad, ladies and gents, because it's time for a pros and cons list. Everyone should be cheering. Why aren't you excited? Yeah, there we go. And it's 6, swinging error. I mentioned before how the appearance of Monty when he jumps off the swinging thing in the ceiling is supposed to be in the game. However, something I find interesting about that scene is that when he's actually swinging, it shouldn't physically be possible. Like, I get it, it's a game and we need to suspend our disbelief, but this game is releasing on the next generation of consoles. So what you're telling me is like, I can see Peter Parker running around his room in the reflection of his toaster, but you can't fix a pendulum swinging through what should be solid concrete on your ceiling? Like, for a game that's hard set on its details and lore and little hints, you figured they'd pay attention to something like that. Like, there's not even a rail system or something that would realistically even let it be moving forward, let alone side to side. It's just like it's clipping through the roof. Or I guess maybe that's the point, and this entire game is a dream. That actually kind of makes sense. I don't want to deal with that though. I mean, it's probably not the case. But yeah, this is what happens, Scott. When you make all these tiny details, when you end up forgetting something, we end up thinking that it's a clue. So way to go. Can't wait to see the Reddit post about this one. Halfway through into number 5, Weird Glitch. During this same trailer, the second State of Play trailer, we get character introductions for the 4 main animatronics: Chica, Roxy, Monty, and Freddy. However, Freddy's is particularly odd. First, he's the only original character introduced with his proper name, Freddy Fazbear, unlike how Chica was introduced as Glamrock Chica, which you may just think is because she doesn't really have a last name. However, neither do Roxanne or Monty. They just have their animals. So like, why, if they want to specify Chica as a Glamrock version, did they not do the same thing with Freddy? Secondly, after Freddy's title card, we get a zoom in of the character while he's glitching out, again setting him apart from the rest. And finally, I don't know how I didn't notice this before, but when he falls down and seemingly crashes, with his integrity level seemingly falling dangerously low, he's falling down on the stage that he's on for the trailer, not any stage where there's actually like kids in front of him. So he's not in the Mega Pizzaplex, which means that this doesn't take place in the game. It happens during that scene, as you can see from the brief glimpse we have of him falling. If these are supposed to be scenes from the game, or at least cinematics, where is this playing if it's not actually happening? Like, it would have to be like on a TV or something, I guess, but like, where is that TV and why is he falling down if it's like just a thing for the kids? And at 4, Secret Cameo. Okay, we already know what Gregory looks like, but we have yet to actually see him in game, right? Since the game is seemingly first person only. Wrong! Well, kind of. Since thanks to the security cameras, we actually get a very quick glimpse at Gregory's back during the scene where Monty is bashing on the security room door. At 1 minute and 7 seconds in the second gameplay trailer, we can see Gregory's shirt, shorts, and right leg in the room while he checks the security camera to see if Monty's out there. Although I feel like you would know, considering how he's bashing on the door that's right next to you. We actually only get a second of this, like literally 1 second of this scene before the camera changes and we lose Gregory. However, as we can see from the mini-map in the bottom right, it also appears that we'll only be able to access the cameras that were around unless we end up maybe using the security room. However, from the first trailer, we can actually assume that the security room doesn't have access to the cameras. I'm guessing because they're all probably cut off by Vanny, since, you know, they're all fuzzy. And at 3, multiple paths. Now this is an interesting idea to me, since from the get-go I figured that much like FNAF VR and Sister Location, that this would be a more story-driven game. However, based on their previous trailer, we seem to have a choice for how to play it. Who we currently believe is Glamrock Freddy tells us that the doors will reopen at 6 AM, a familiar time to fans of the original games, since they had us surviving until the end of our shift at 6 AM. Quote from Glamrock Freddy: "You should be able to escape when the security doors reopen at 6 AM. Until then, keep moving and try not to draw attention to yourself. If there is another way out, I will help you find it." But then we see plenty of different areas like downstairs and like secret tunnels and more. If we're only trying to survive until 6, why would we hide down there and not just stay in the security room like when Monty was banging on the door? This building seemingly doesn't have limited power. This leads me to believe that there will be multiple ways to play. Hide and seek until 6 AM, which gives us one ending, and escaping, which will give us another and probably the canon ending. But ultimately, in at number 2, Secret Purple. At this point, we all know that the release date for the game is going to be December 16, 2021, or if you want to go by the number of the dates, 16/12/21, because the day comes before the month, because that's how everywhere in the world other than the States does it. But after going through the random flashing numbers and checking hexadecimal codes for some of them after the Freddy and Friends on Tour videos, I figured I'd check the hexadecimal for the actual release date. So opening up Photoshop, I put in the hex code 16/12/21, and it gives us what looks like black, until you look at the actual color spectrum and see that it's not black, but instead a very, very dark purple. The same shade of purple that William Afton was depicted as during FNAF 2 and 3, or at least very similar to it. And I just think that's interesting, like, since if they had released it when they originally wanted to, probably around sometime mid-2020, that color would have instead been blue, not purple. Even if they had released it in January of 2022, it would have been blue. I mean, it's probably not intentional, but it's certainly an interesting coincidence. And finally, in at number 1, logical inconsistency. Now, I hinted at this earlier, however, there seems to be a lot of conflicting data and points in the FNAF series as a whole, yes, but also in the trailers. Like how in the trailer, Vanny seemingly tells us to come home and that it won't happen again, which is a whole other can of worms, because that suggests that Vanny is Greg's mother, but more on that another time. That line suggests that Gregory ran away to the Pizzaplex, but in recent trailers we learn that he actually gets trapped in there accidentally. And in the RTX trailer we hear Vanny say, "Gregory, it's getting late, let's get you home and put you to bed," but like I said, we know he's there late as an accident. So what's the deal here? And even in the first gameplay trailer, we hear Vanessa say that she can get us out of this place, but we learn from Freddy that the doors don't open until 6. She also says we won't want to be here until 6 AM, but that's seemingly the only time we can get out of the doors. So is this hinting at the 12 AM to 6 AM classic gameplay leading to the bad ending? Perhaps. So why are the trailers contradicting themselves before the game is even released yet? No idea. Cause it's FNAF, honestly. That's a better explanation. Minute 10, the power of love. The immense agony generated when you hear me sing. The immense agony generated when you get killed is the fuel behind how possession works in the FNAF universe. This makes you think, if agony is the most powerful emotion in this world, what do the other emotions do? Or rather, where are the other emotions ranked? If agony lets you possess animatronics among other things upon death, what would emotions like anger and love do? And what is the second most powerful emotion? How far does it radiate? Do all emotions just allow you to possess things? Just other emotions are less likely to do so? Like, how does it work? I want to shout out the YouTube user that left the comments on this video that brought this to my attention, but I can't find that comment for a second time. So, I don't know if it was deleted, but if this was you who left the comment on the previous Tiny Details video, thank you so much. These things are getting really hard because I'm running out of details and I'm relying so much more on the comments section. So if you have any tiny details I have yet to talk about, please, I cannot stress this enough, leave it below. It doesn't even have to be, it doesn't even have to have like bigger implications. Okay, just something that's small, just please. Thank you for your help. Minute 9, hiding place. Throughout Sister Location, we're constantly being talked to by Baby. At first, she wants to help us, at least it seems that way, and then we get scooped. But before that, she mentions that someone crafted one of the cupboards into a hiding place, but who did that? Was it one of the technicians? Was it the man from the Fazbear Frights book? I mean, I don't think it would have been because he kind of got stuffed with mini arenas. And I mean, the technicians are killed at the end of the game, but were they freshly filleted or were they there the whole time, only being revealed when a light was shining on them? Who knows, really? Maybe it was Baby who made that hole so we would trust her, or maybe it was William hiding from the wrath of his daughter. I mean, she had to be mad at him, right? Why else would she be haunting him in Ultimate Custom Night? Sure, he regrets what happened, but she surely blames him for the situation that she's kind of stuck in. She was clearly in agony since, you know, she possessed Baby, and William was 100% avoiding her. I mean, you don't just get shut in a room and not be avoiding your daughter, right? Parents know. And it is Shadow Animatronics. The Shadow Animatronics really don't have an explanation, even after all these years. We still just have a couple of ideas as to what these are. Some think that Crying Child is Shadow Freddy, others think that they're employees that ended up getting killed, either by the animatronics, William, or the Springlock suits. Since the two Shadow Animatronics are Freddy and Bonnie, who we know have Springlock variants in the games thanks to the phone guy dialogue. But where did these Shadow Animatronics come from and where did they go? Cotton Eye Joe. Did we release them? Are they still after us? Were they ever really hostile? The whole Shadow Animatronic situation was kind of forgotten over the years, and while it may not be an important detail, it's still something I'm curious about and I still want to answer. It's an active virus. We know that William is a virus at the moment. After dying in the man in room 1280, he possesses a hard drive that gets scanned into FNAF VR Help Wanted. We also know the virus gets uploaded to special delivery thanks to the special delivery emails and the aggressive nature of what was supposed to be nice animatronics. However, why did the virus get uploaded? Who uploaded it? Well, thanks to the emails we aren't supposed to see, we learned that Vanny, the antagonist of the upcoming Security Breach game, is the one who's uploaded the virus, and I mean it makes sense. She's a follower of Afton, even if it's reluctant. However, with the various versions of Springtrap in the game, could this virus be to blame for them? Especially Toxic Springtrap, who is the signature purple of the infamous purple guy who occupies the suit. Was Toxic Springtrap the original attempt to escape the video game world? I mean, the AR game is the closest we've gotten to having FNAF animatronics in real life, and Scott isn't one to be afraid of being meta. I mean, he was the final boss of FNAF World after all. So could William's real plan to be to escape into our world? And would that tie in with the new Joy of Creation Ignited collection that Scott is helping to fund? Since in that game you play as Scott Cawthon, and the animatronics are coming after you in the real world. I don't know, it seems possible. And it's 6 below our glasses. In the Fazbear Fright story of Room for One More, we see a girl steal a pair of glasses that show her a dancing Ballora when she puts them on. It starts off sweet, but as we know, these animatronics don't mess around. Eventually, Ballora starts getting closer, basically just coming in for a kill, and in an effort to atone, the girl returns the glasses to their owner, only to have her daughter get caught by Ballora. The actual story though isn't important, so if I messed it up, please forgive me. What I'm really looking at here are the glasses. These glasses help this girl see Ballora when nobody else can. And this reminds me of something that we've experienced in the games, the Nightmare animatronics. Could it be that instead of the illusion sound discs that we've been thinking caused the Nightmare animatronics, that it was actually these glasses? And yes, I said Nightmare sound discs intentionally because I saw a comment that said please say just illusion discs. So no, illusion sound discs. You can't tell me what to do. Scott himself said that these stories would help us solve things from the games. So what if Crying Child was wearing these glasses and that's how he saw the nightmares? It would explain why he wouldn't call for help because he knew that nobody else could see them. And I doubt that they would have put on the glasses if he had asked. Plus, it would also explain why Michael knows what the Nightmare animatronics look like as an alternate explanation to my he's a robot crying child theory, which I'm sure plenty of you want at this point. Halfway through and in number 5, Disassembled. In FNAF 1, we only had 5 animatronics to worry about, and no convoluted story. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Golden Freddy was our cast of characters, compared to the over 50 that appear in Ultimate Custom Night. However, even out of all 50 plus, Golden Freddy is still the most interesting and mysterious. In the first game, he had no endoskeleton. He seemed to just be a floppy suit with 2 glowing eyes that somehow was able to teleport through walls, and some believed to be able to cause hallucinations like the infamous "It's Me" text and "Eyeless Bonnie," along with changing posters on the wall and generating news articles that show us more lore. But how? And why? Why is he so limp? The amount of jokes I could make for that. Is his endoskeleton the one in the storage room? And why was it removed in the first place? Was it for cleaning or something? Because let's be honest, if the animatronics are leaking mucus and blood and smell like death and don't get washed, I doubt that they'll be cleaning Golden Freddy. Something that's because he caused the bite of 87, but there is evidence for other characters as well, and nothing has been confirmed. So, why? And at 4, Glitch. Continuing on Golden Freddy, how does he have these powers? How can he move in and out of the office at will, basically moving through walls and causing weird hallucinations that give us issues for 7 years? Yet we still don't know how it's possible. This should, in reality, be incredibly hard to do, if not impossible, because even in the FNAF world, this kind of thing is hard. Is this what the other emotions can do, or is this agony stretching so far that they can move through solid objects and hide from our vision? Why have we not tried to figure this out? We kind of just accepted that he can do this, and then we moved on. Like, what the actual hell is this little freaking goddamn golden bear? Is he a bear? Yeah, he's a bear. Like, he can just come in and out whenever he wants, crash us to the desktop, and then laugh as we have to reboot it like he just loaded Skyrim for the 40,000th time without mods. Like, where did this man come from? And at 3, hallucinations. The hallucinations from FNAF 1 are their own story too. Where did they come from? Is it Golden Freddy? If it is, why do we need to see them, or why do we see them in the first place? Are they actual newspaper articles, or are we just fully hallucinating? Is this real life, or is this just a fantasy? Caught in a landslide, escape Golden Freddy. But seriously, why are we seeing these things other than it being important to the mystery of the game? Is there something more going on here that we haven't discovered yet? Is Golden Freddy the one changing these articles and posters, or are we somehow doing it ourselves? These hallucinations, or whatever they are, have some sort of explanation behind them. I just need to know what that explanation is. In a 2, Seen in the Shadows. During MatPat's Big FNAF livestream during the FNAF 4 days, he ended up getting clues from Scott Cawthon himself via the Scott Games or FNAF World website, I can't remember which one. One referencing Chica's beak, one talking about 4 games, 1 story, and then one saying what is seen in shadows is often misunderstood in the mind of a child. And since Scott has since debunked Dream Theory, what did this mean? Did he originally intend on Dream Theory being the correct answer, then changed his mind, because, you know, that's pretty Scott? Or is there still some validity to this clue that we haven't explored yet? I mean, we originally assumed it was the scene where Purple Guy puts a head on a coworker in a suit, but is this referencing something else now? Did Crying Child see Elizabeth get scooped in the shadows, making it really look like there was a stomach mouth and some weird alien tongue that grabbed her? Hence the stomach mouths on the Nightmare animatronics? Or did he just see it directly and that's why they're there, and this is referencing something completely different? I mean, it would make sense, but Sister Location hadn't come out yet, right? I don't know anymore. My brain hurts. Finally, in number 1, Henry's death. There are currently 2 deaths that we know of for the character we know as Henry. One's in the FNAF 6 fire, where he stays while it burns so nobody will remember this place, but also once in FNAF World, where he gets killed by Baby. However, if he died in the FNAF 6 fire along with Baby, how did he die in the FNAF World cutscene? There seems to be a simple explanation. Actually, they are the same thing. That room that Henry was in that cutscene must have been a room in the FNAF 6 building that we just didn't know about. Maybe the safe room that we heard so much about until FNAF 3 when we just forgot about it. That scene was basically a flash forward to the FNAF 6 location, even if we didn't know it at the time, where Baby kills Henry before they're both engulfed in flames. She either killed him due to rage or the fact that Henry called her Elizabeth. Or cut her off in the ending, because yeah, that would make me go nuts too.
And be full.
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth, if you still even remember that name, but I'm afraid you've been misinformed.
And at 10, Endoskeleton. The excuse we get in the original FNAF game as to why the animatronics are attacking us is because we look like a naked endoskeleton and they want to put us in a suit because it's against company policy. First of all, why would you program animatronics in a pizzeria to try and enforce company policy, especially at night? And why would they directly come after us if that's the excuse? Like, why would they come all the way to the security room? But the main issue is, why aren't they attacking the naked endoskeleton, sometimes visible in the storage room? Bonnie will sometimes even go into the storeroom while the endoskeleton is in there, but nothing. Why is it that it will attack us, but not it? It's also violating company policy, isn't it? I mean, maybe because it's in the storage room it's fine, but then again, why wouldn't we make our way there because it would be safe, and why wouldn't they tell us about that? The explanation we came up with is because we look like William Afton since we think we play as Michael. But if we go off my theory that we play as Henry since Michael may not have been old enough, that doesn't make sense. Plus, even if it's because we look like William, that doesn't explain. And at number 9, why Phone Guy? If the animatronics are really after us because we look like the man who killed them, why do they attack Phone Guy? And why do they kill him on night 4? This is what originally made us think that Purple Guy was the Phone Guy, since this seems to mimic what we see in the FNAF 3 minigames where we see William get spring-locked. But Scott confirmed that that wasn't true in the Ultimate Custom Night April Fool's update, so why did they attack Phone Guy? Is Phone Guy actually Michael Afton and he doesn't actually die? Or do the animatronics get some form of code update before we become the Night Guard so they aren't attacking because we look like an endoskeleton in an effort to avoid what happened to Phone Guy happening again? Because a lot of good that did. You went and hired someone who looked exactly like their killer. Smooth move, bro. And at 8, how did Baby get ejected? So we know that between the events of Sister Location and FNAF 6 that Baby and the rest of Ennard get into a lover's spat and then Baby gets kicked out of Ennard. But like, how does that work, really? They were all tangled together, right? So did they just remove the parts that were Baby and then kick her to the curb? Or did they just remove her soul and place it into another endoskeleton? If they did that, how did that work? Like, how did the actual process of ejecting work? It's really confusing to me because she ends up getting a whole new body and Molten Freddy is left as basically a puddle of parts, but then he grabs a Freddy face and calls it okay. Like, what the hell happened for that to work? It's so confusing and it's unexplained, it's mysterious. I know that they had a fight and I know that she got kicked out, but how did they actually physically remove her from the Ennard tribe, I guess? Scott, explain! What do you mean it's Arkansas? And at 7, Lorekeeper ending. I talked about the FNAF 2 minigames in another video or list, but what I'm really wondering now is about the FNAF 6 minigames, Fruity Maze, Security Puppet, and Midnight Motorist. These games, while not a big part of the game, are required to be beaten for the Lorekeeper ending, meaning that they would have lore significance. I mean, they obviously do, because we learn a lot from them, but how and why are these secrets hidden inside? The Fruity Maze ends up gory and trailing blood, with William Afton and presumably Susie in the reflection. But like, how can we see the reflection if we're the ones playing? Security Puppet recounts the origin of the puppet and how Henry's daughter Charlotte died. And Midnight Motorist recounts later that night, after William had killed Charlotte and returns home. But how did these little secrets get put into the game? Was it Henry? Was it someone who knew the story of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza? Are these the games that were made by a rogue indie game developer? And are are these games even real? Or are these sections just hallucinations or memories and they don't actually exist within the game? Are we just having flashbacks or is this all real time? I don't know. And genuinely, it scares me. And at 6, why is Purple Guy smiling? The Foxy Go 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 mini game was another piece of evidence for the Phone Guy is Purple Guy theory, since Phone Guy loves Foxy, and in this game we can see Foxy run out to a group of dead kids where Purple Guy is smiling beforehand. But since we know Purple Guy isn't the Phone Guy, why is he smiling? Is it a coincidence and he likes Foxy too? Like, Scott wouldn't do that, right? Or is it just that William is pleased with watching Foxy find another set of missing kids? There is no clear-cut answer anymore, and that's just honestly concerning. Like, there has to be a reason, right? Or is this just so old now that we can or have to ignore it? Since Scott knows the story he wants to tell now, like Matt had said in his video about the full timeline. Or is this still of significance that we need to keep in mind when looking at everything in the future? Is it because Foxy was the last of the 5 missing kids to die, so William had developed a style and had gotten comfortable at that point, so he was proud of it? Were those 5 kids killed in the same way that Fritz, the spirit that possesses Foxy, was? I don't know. Halfway through number 5, where's the puppet? The animatronic known as Lefty was designed as a mechanism to capture the puppet, and does so prior to its appearance in FNAF 6. However, when Lefty jump scares you in both FNAF 6 and Ultimate Custom Night, we can't seem to see the rest of the puppet inside Lefty other than the arms. Realistically, the puppet's face should be in Lefty's head, but it's not. In fact, Lefty has something blocking the bottom of its head, like, you know, the rest of its skull, making it separate and a sealed piece. So, what the hell? Where did the rest of the puppet go? Is it inside the body compressed? Because the proportions, if it's not compressed, are all wrong, unless it got damaged in the FNAF 3 fire, which caused it to shrivel, since we know that the puppet was there. Which would have been a terrifying animatronic, so it sucks that we didn't get to see that. But still, I doubt Henry would have let his daughter's vessel get compressed inside of Lefty. So what the hell is going on here, and where's the rest of the puppet? And at 4, what brought him back? We all know that William makes his way to the FNAF 6 location first out of all the animatronics, but how? It's not like he got an email saying, "Hey, my old pal William, how about you come to this new Fazbear location that your kid opened? It's gonna have plenty of potential victims." And he didn't get a flyer sent to him, so how was he called back to this location? How were any of them called back, really? I know that he could have brought Lefty back because he had programmed her, but what made William, Molten Freddy, and Baby come back? Was it similar to the green bracelet for the puppet? Or was it playing those sounds like in FNAF 3 or in the vents in this game? How close did they have to be for them to hear it? Is it some sort of circuit thing that he could activate inside the animatronics with a remote? We don't know, and I really want to. Getting close to the end in number 3, investigation. I talked about the police and how nobody seemed to bat an eye in a previous part, but I want to be more specific and find the real reason the police didn't investigate more. We know they did investigate thanks to the phone guy calls and Juniors from Midnight Motorist, but why didn't they investigate the smelly, oozing animatronics? The bodies were in there and they would know to investigate, especially when the place got shut down because the animatronics started oozing and leaking mucus and blood. Blood! How do you not look into that? Are you telling me there wasn't one single cop who didn't find that suspicious? There is no way the cops would have put 5 missing children's cases to bed that quickly. Yeah, the first 48 hours of a murder investigation are the most crucial, same thing with missing persons, but they don't usually give up after those 2 days. It's so weird and it makes me think that William had to have someone in his pocket. That's the only really questionable thing that I'm really stuck on. Like, why didn't they check the bloody suits? It makes 0 sense from any perspective. And at 2, in-universe games. Thanks to Help Wanted, we learned about a series of games that were made by an in-universe version of Scott Cawthon. This guy supposedly made the games out of the situation and ruined the reputation of the company. However, we then hear Tape Girl say that Fazbear Entertainment paid Scott to make these games. But we've heard so much about these games, but don't know what these games are. Some people think that it's the FNAF 2 minigames, others think the FNAF 6 minigames. There is a possibility that Security Breach is one of them, or FNAF AR, but we don't have a serious answer. Nothing is confirmed, and it's a big issue. Also, I know that it's not actually Scott, but he doesn't have a name yet, so I'm just gonna call him Scott. He used his own picture, it's what he gets. What do you think the in-universe games are? Do you think that we've seen them, or do you think we have yet to find one in-game? Let me know below, because I'm very confused and might need some help. Finally, in at number 1, Glitch Trap. Glitchtrap is the main antagonist of Help Wanted, and is William Afton's consciousness in the form of computer code, thanks to his agony allowing him to possess a hard drive at the end of the Man in Room 1280 from the Fazbear Frights book in the flesh, that then gets scanned to help make the AI in Help Wanted. But he was never meant to be in the game. However, for someone who was never meant to be in the game, he has a huge impact on the final minigame. He doesn't make any appearances in other games, but he shows up in Pizza Party at the final scene, and is present while we were all inside the Fazbear costume. He dances on the floor in front of us while we're stuck singing a song. But how is he able to do that? How does he open the curtain? How does he put us in the suit and then dance around happy that he did it? He wasn't meant to exist, so how can he interact with a virtual world? We can't even move the curtain if we manage to break the boundaries and touch it, so if our hands pass through it, why don't his? We were meant to be in the game. He wasn't. And how is he able to make a whole stage for himself when he attacks us? It doesn't make any sense, unless he was meant to exist in the first place.